Do I really even need to say anything? I mean, I feel like the footage on screen right now is doing all my work for me. Welcome back to the Dragon's Library. Today we have a video game review for you, and it is about Expedition 33, or specifically Clair Obscure Expedition 33 by Sandfall Interactive. It is a turn-based RPG that came out earlier this year. It takes a lot of inspiration from games like Final Fantasy and Persona. Now, if you haven't played this game yet, go play this game because it's really, really freaking good. If you need more reasons, you can keep watching this review. If you don't need more reasons, you can go play the game, then come back and watch this review. But first, let's talk about the story. What's the hook? What's the initial plot point? What's the inciting incident? Well, it's quite simple, but also kind of complicated. Basically, a long time ago, 67 years to be precise, there was a horrifying cataclysm that destroyed the known world. One of the pieces of the main continent, a city known as Lumiere, was broken off from the main continent and turned into an island. Ever since then, the citizens of Lumiere have suffered an event called the Gormage, where a mysterious woman, known as the Paintress, who is visible even from a great distance, writes a singular number upon a gigantic stone monolith. And when she writes it, everyone that age or younger dies. First it was 100, then 99, 98, and by the time this story starts, 67 years later, she writes the number 33 upon the stone, and all who are 33 or younger die. So it's basically a slow apocalypse. In the time since these started, the people of Lumiere have regularly sent out citizens who are about to die the next year. So for this year, all the 32-year-olds are essentially getting on big boats and sailing off to the dangerous continent full of monsters and weird abominations. And their goal is to kill the Paintress and set themselves free from the terror of the Gormage. One of these people is Gustav. He and his foster sister, Maëlle, who is very young, but at this point, they're all gonna die soon anyway, all set off with the expedition to the continent. However, upon arriving at the continent, they are slaughtered by a mysterious old man, so old that he should have been killed by the Gormage long ago, and yet he still lives. The only survivors of this are 4 members of the expedition. There's Gustav, Maëlle, Lune, and lastly, Ciel. Despite being the only 4 survivors of the event that destroyed their company, they are determined to see the Paintress defeated and to uncover the mystery of the strange old man Renoir and his strange family who seem to be popping up. Along the way, they uncover the secrets of the cataclysm, the truth of their world, the true motivations of the Paintress, and evils that lurk in the darkest corners. So yeah, it's a very cool setup for a plot. It adds a lot of tension and weight to their journey. You get to see the Gormage actually happen to a former lover of Gustav, who he wasted all this time, and then she literally dissolved into rose petals when the Gormage happened. So there's a lot of motivation behind the main characters to slay the Paintress, and I won't be talking about spoilers until a very small section, if at all. I'm still thinking about that as I am doing this. I have a spoiler section written up, but I'm actually not sure if it'll go in here or not. Point is, this story gets wild. There are 3 main acts and an epilogue, and things change wildly between the acts. There are major plot and character shifts that redefine how you look at this world, the true motivations of its characters, and the actual enemy that these characters will be fighting. It's really cool. Unfortunately, the plot twists are so interesting and such effective pieces of writing that I really, really don't want to spoil them, which makes it hard to talk about because a lot of the themes of the story about the true nature of art, what it means to cling to something beyond all reason, the way that grief and loss can twist you and how you deal with that, and how it's healthy to deal with that, and how eventually at a certain point you can start hurting other people while being lost in your own grief, even if they're not technically related to it. It is so good and so interesting. Unfortunately, it's really, really hard to talk about it without talking about the plot twists, and I think the plot twists are also very good and well executed as a story beat, so I don't want to spoil them for people who haven't played the game yet. I'm probably going to have a small spoiler section, we will see. Now that we've got the story out of the way, what's the gameplay like? Well, it's a turn-based game, and if you played Persona 5, it looks a lot like that. One of the things I really gotta praise Expedition 33 for is its UI. It has this very stylized UI design, a lot of the characters look great, the combat is very engaging. Part of this is that they make you engage with the opponent's turn. So in games like Mario & Luigi Dream Team or Paper Mario, you can use quick time events to react or to make your attacks do more damage. And there's a lot of that in here. You can do quick time events, and you can turn them on and off in the accessibility menu. You don't have to do them, but they will make your attacks more powerful. If you land them, you get extra bonuses for doing it. In addition to that, you can also parry, dodge, and even jump over attacks that are coming at your characters, which means if you're good enough at the timings, you can literally not get hit in fights. It's really cool, very interactive, and yes, it is a bit like a Souls-like game, and that is part of why I like this, because you guys know what I like. Weirdly enough, though, according to some of the developers, specifically in an interview, and I'm gonna butcher his name probably, Guilherme Broche, called out Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon as two of the games that they took inspiration from that used quick time events in their turn-based combat. So that's kind of interesting. The gameplay is also very much inspired by Final Fantasy. A lot of the tropes and character designs can seem very Final Fantasy-esque. If you had shown me one of these characters and said they're from a Final Fantasy game, I probably would believe you. But it still managed to retain its own art style and its own sense of combat. Each character has their own internal systems, like Lune's Stain system, or the Style Point system from one of the other characters, and they all kind of do their own thing. And they play very differently. I've played with almost all of them except Morocco, who's this like guy who's a paintbrush person who can turn into different things as he collects things from enemies he kills, but you have him in the party when you kill stuff. You get him really late in the game, but that's a problem with just RPGs in general, so I'm not going to dwell too much on it. I do really like that the way that you can interact or avoid enemy attacks is divided into several different categories. You have specific dodges like the jump or the gradient parry, which are specifically used for moves that are heavily telegraphed with a certain animation. They're a deviation, and then you have the dodge and the parry, which you can use for most attacks. The dodge is much easier to do while the parry is harder, but the parry also gives you the ability to riposte enemies for massive damage. Basically, if you're trying to get good at the game, getting good at parries is really cool because you can do so much more damage. But you can still play the game by just dodging. That's completely valid. In addition, the gameplay gives you a very good challenge. Most of the enemies feel fair. I knew what I was doing. I could figure out why I was getting hit. I didn't ever feel like anything was overpowered or completely unfair, aside from maybe that one stupid boss in the deep pit. That thing is really overpowered, but it's like an end-game, like post-game fuck-around boss that you only deal with when you have like maxed out stats, maxed out characters. It's designed to be one of the hardest challenges in the game. So some of the side content can be really difficult, but the main path stuff is still challenging enough while not feeling like it's overwhelming you as a player. Now, you might not have heard the developer Sandfall Interactive before this game, and the reason for that is because they're a brand new studio, but they're not brand new developers. The developers behind Clair Obscur, specifically Guilherme Broche, again, I'm sorry for butchering that name, was an old employee of Ubisoft, as I mentioned earlier. Back in 2019, he came up with this idea for this game as a passion project based on the Final Fantasy series, and he sent out calls on Reddit, of all places, to look for people to help him with it in 2020. He got some voice actors, helped make a demo, and eventually decided to leave Ubisoft and work on it full-time, forming it alongside Francois, who was just a general friend of his, and another Ubisoft developer named Tom. They slowly got a team of about 30 developers who all worked together to make this game come to life. Small to medium-sized games are killing it now. We have these teams of 30 people outperforming teams of 300 people. It's insane. Completely out of the ballpark. And a lot of the game's look and feel comes from this. Actually, particularly the developers wanted to emulate certain styles of French art that were popular during, oh god, I'm gonna butcher this as well, the Belle Époque setting, which roughly translates to the beautiful period. This is a period of France from between 1871 till 1914, and it was a period of like optimism and regional peace, economic prosperity, and a lot of like very over-the-top and beautiful art and elegant designed buildings. I'm not an expert on French history. Sorry if I kind of simplified that a lot. This also brings us to the art and soundtrack and just general look and feel of the game. It looks gorgeous. It's not like going for full-on photorealism, but it has realistic enough designs that they feel really good, while also feeling slightly stylized so it'll hold up long-term. In addition to that, the monster variety is very unique. A lot of cool and interesting designs I haven't seen before. A lot of the designs seem to take inspiration from essentially combining normal everyday objects with like kind of monster designs. So you have like a multi-limbed horror that's made up of hands holding lanterns, or this serpent that looks like the end of its head is like a lamplight, or these paintbrush people who literally are like wooden constructs with paintbrushes for heads. You have again, just so many cool and interesting designs. I really like to see that. And on top of all of that, you also have just one of the most amazing soundtracks I have heard for a game. This soundtrack is so freaking good. I might play a clip for you here from one of the best parts. Hopefully that didn't get copyright claimed. If it did, I'm sorry. But God, this soundtrack is good. And there are so many songs, like almost too many. There are 179 songs in the soundtrack, which is sold on, get this, 8 different CDs. It is an impressive amount. You will be listening to this and still be hearing new songs constantly, because there's just so many good songs, and they're all these great orchestral, uplifting, dark, and dreary, every possible emotional gambit. It is so good, and they punctuate the scenes so well. If there is one part of the design that I will say Clair Obscur is probably one of the best games I've ever experienced for, it is for music. This is some top tier music. This is the kind of thing that we're gonna still be talking about decades from now, about how great this game's music was. Everything else it does is still amazing, but the music really outdoes everything else in just like the terms of quality compared to other games. So, wanted to make that very clear. I highly recommend you go check out their CDs or their download. Buy it from the creators. Do something like that, because seriously, they deserve all the praise for this soundtrack. God, there's been so much good stuff between like this and King of Pop Demon Hunters music-wise coming out this year. Ugh, great. Anyway, moving on. So this is where I get to the spoiler section, because I've decided I do need to talk about this. I know. Please, I beg you, if you have not played this game yet, pause the video or skip to the conclusion, go play this game, and come back afterwards. You will be doing yourself a massive disservice if you do not go get this game and play it first, because the story is really cool, and going in blind, you can really feel the emotional impact. So the first thing I'm going to talk about in the spoiler section is one of the ways that this game just nails ludonarrative synchronicity. I know you've heard about that before, where the gameplay matches the story, but Expedition 33 does it really well. So one of the first things that happens is you are mostly playing the first act of the game through the eyes of the main character, Gustav, or at least the main character of Act 1. Every act kind of has its own main character, so to speak. Although there is a kind of overarching main character in Mael. Now, Gustav is the main character. He's your primary heavy damage dealer who can build up this gigantic electro charge using his artificial arm. He has a very solid moveset compared to Mael and Lune, who have their own gimmick kind of thing going on with the stances and stains. He's just build up charge attack, do massive damage, which is a very steady and reliable character for the early game. Which makes it such a shock when he's brutally murdered. Yep. This character who you've grown to care for, who you've come to rely on to balance your team comp, gets brutally murdered by the old man Renoir, just as this new mysterious character Verso shows up and helps to save you. One of the things that's also cool with this game is it doesn't waste all the progress you spent with Gustav, because you might have spent time gathering unique weapons, upgrading them using materials, and if they just killed him and destroyed his toolkit, that could feel really demoralizing for a player. And they do this at first. You feel the loss, you feel Mael's grief, you feel Lune's panic of, holy shit, we've lost another member, what are we going to do? And that is when Verso comes in. Now, Verso I have not talked about before because he's kind of a spoiler character who shows up. He ends up filling a similar role to Gustav, although his attacks are more specialized. Whereas Gustav was very easy to play, Verso's a little bit harder. He has essentially a style combo meter, like from Devil May Cry, where as long as he avoids getting hit and keeps doing damage, his style meter will go up, and when your style meter is at certain levels, different attacks get extra bonus effects, which is really cool and fun and really rewards people who master the parry timing. However, he also gets all of Gustav's weapons and upgrades and stuff like that, which means that you don't feel like you wasted those materials, and when Verso joins the party, he becomes sort of an uplifting thing who's really, really good for making the party feel like they're back on their feet and going towards the fight. And it's moments like this, like the loss of Gustav and Verso's return, that really nail how the gameplay and the story and the plot all mesh together very, very well to form a great whole. Verso has his own history. Renoir is actually his father, and he is an immortal. Basically, every time he dies, it doesn't end well, and he comes back. And he's tried to finish him before, and he has a lot of secrets, and it turns out he hid the fact that Renoir was his father until like the second act reveal. And eventually, though, they get over their stuff. Mael gets this cool super sword that can get through the Paintress's barriers, and they go up to go kill the Paintress, and they fight Renoir, and Verso is clearly still not telling them something, because when they defeat the Paintress, it's revealed that his entire world is actually a painting, a magic painting from the family called the Painters. The Painters had this war with another group called the Writers. I know it's very meta, just stay with me for a moment. And in this war, Verso, the real Verso, in the real world, died. And this Verso is a painted copy created by his mother, the Paintress. And Renoir, who is actually this mysterious figure that had been appearing to Mael throughout the story, is actually the real Renoir, and he's been the one actually killing everyone. The Paintress's number wasn't the start of the gourmage, it was a warning to the people because she could only physically protect the copies of her family that she created. So, when they killed the Paintress, Renoir appears and reveals that Mael is actually the daughter. There was a mysterious version of her that had like a broken mask and scars, because in her real world she was maimed in the fire and lost a lot of her ability to speak or without, hurting herself. And she was sent by their other sister to go into the painting and help their father get their mother out before she loses her mind because she can't live in a fantasy world for the rest of her life. It's slowly destroying her. And now you have this tension between the Painter family who wants the painting to be destroyed because their mother will keep looking for it because she can't let go of the past. She can't let go of her son who died, and this is like a last piece of his soul. It really delves into how art is a reflection of the worldview and opinions and life of the person who made it, and how that can both be a good thing in the sense that it can create all these wonderful fantasies and wonderful events that these characters should go on. There's a lot of emphasis put on the fact that the old Verso used to go on all these fun adventures. This was literally his like magic playground. But it leads to this unhealthy fixation from the Paintress, the mother, who's constantly latching onto the painting as like the last piece of his soul, and she can be here with this perfect version of her family that's not ruined, that's not broken. And it's really so good. Mael now has this conflict between the real world and the painting, but the painting is just as real. The people here aren't just constructs. They have their own emotions, their own opinions, their own lives, their own souls. They don't want to die. And Verso, the Verso in the painting, has come to the realization that this will destroy the family outside, and they have a responsibility to the old Verso, their creator, to not let the painting kill or consume his mother. It's this really nice tension, and Mael is particularly conflicted because she also misses Verso. And now, in the outside world, she's scarred so badly she can barely talk. Everything hurts. Here, she's whole again. She's new. She has friends. She's lived a whole life here because when she entered the painting, her memories got wiped and she grew up anew. She's literally fighting with two different lives that she's living. And she doesn't want to see all her friends die. She begs her sister to just hide the painting away so they don't destroy the last thing of Verso, but their mother will never stop looking for it. She will come back and the whole cycle will start again and everything will end with her dead or broken or destroyed. And the only way to stop this is to burn it down, but Mael doesn't want that. She wants this life. She wants to live here. And she says she can go back. She says she can give it up, but can she? Probably not. It's this really heartbreaking story about what grief can do, what holding on to the past can do to you. And it's so good. The plot twists hit hard. They make sense. Nothing feels like retcons. It all flows together into this story, this overarching theme on grief. And Mael has grief. She has grief for the potential lover Gustav has, who she was somewhat close to. She grieves for Gustav, who she lost too soon. She grieves for the fact that if they succeed, perhaps all her friends will end up dead. It is so good, so heartbreaking, and so emotional. I cannot recommend it enough. But our spoiler time has come to an end, so let's get back to the conclusion. And welcome back everyone who was not in the spoiler section. I got very emotional just now because the story is really good. I will say, this story is about moving on, it's about grief. I cannot tell you more than that if you didn't watch the spoiler section. Once you play the game, come back and watch that because I have a lot to say. Gosh, this video gone too long. I wanted this to be like a 10-minute video. It's already like 19 minutes. As I'm talking right now, I'm going to try and trim it down. We will see. But in the end, Clair Obscura Expedition 33 is one of those games that just knocks everything out of the park. It has a cool twist on other gameplay that, yes, other games have tried things like it, but it never actually perfected it as much as this did for me. The turn-based combat feels good. The interruptions you can do feel nice. The game feels unique and different while still harkening back to things like Final Fantasy. The overall gameplay experience is very polished, very solid as to expect from a veteran developer. The music is phenomenal, the story is great, the characters are fun and interesting, and the whole game just oozes with passion and creativity and charm. I love it. This is actually a 10 out of 10 game for me. I don't give 10 out of 10 slightly. I do things like 9 out of 10 sometimes, and I haven't given a number rating a lot because I think numbers ratings kind of value things, but every once in a while I'm like, this is just perfect. This is just absolutely perfect. Nothing you can do. This is top tier gaming right here, and it was made by a small studio of 30 people, proving you don't need these massive 200-person teams to make a good project. You need passion, you need a good idea, and you need time and space to work on it without publishers interfering. Seriously, publishers, get your shit together. Anyway, love it, play it. This is a game you do not want to miss out on. So, yeah. Hope you guys liked that review. I know it's been a bit. This review took a lot, because it feels like every review I make from now is just getting more and more delayed. I'm not going to get into all the things that delayed this. Let's just say there have been a lot of problems. But I do hope this review was able to meet your expectations based on my previous work, and I really hope you guys check out this game because it's a really solid game that I think more people need to see. I know a lot of people played it, but even more people need to play it, quite frankly. So, yeah. Moving on to the announcements. I am about to start, or will have started by the time this comes out, my October of Variety, which is basically going to be this thing I'm going to do in October where every Tuesday and every Thursday I'm going to be playing a different game, and it's going to be ranging from horror titles to recommendations on my Discord channel to just cool stuff I haven't gotten around to yet. If you want to check that out or you want to recommend me stuff, you can go to my Discord channel, or you can just keep an eye on the stream. I stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:30 Central Standard Time. Check me out, it'll be a lot of fun. We have fun talking about different things like mythology or just current releases and new stuff and things that just get you around to like a full review on. So if you really do want to support the channel, that'd be a great place to go. Come check us out, hang around with us. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm really going to enjoy playing this variety of games this month. And afterwards, we'll get back to things like Wuchong and eventually like Silk Song and Hades 2. So looking forward to all of that. Next few months are going to be a lot. So I guess I will see you all there. Finally, we have the out card. There is a subscribe board. Click on it, go to my channel, subscribe, and then there's a video YouTube recommends. Hopefully it'll be something cool. I know we also had a Lilo and Stitch video recently. If you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun. That movie is great. And I will see you all next time. Bye.